The story begins with a star, not as a violent furnace of fire, but as a steady and almost tender rhythm in the dark. The sun, though vast enough to contain 1,000,000 Earths, breathes with a subtle cadence, a slow heartbeat that has pulsed for nearly 5 billion years. Its surface is a restless sea of plasma, yet when watched from afar, its presence feels less like a roar and more like a deep, gentle hum resonating across the solar system. Every flicker, every solar cycle, is an oscillation, as though the star itself sighs in a cosmic sleep. Scientists have found that the sun vibrates, producing what we call helioseismic waves. They ripple across its glowing face, invisible to the eye, but measurable oscillations that transform the sun into an instrument. To astronomers, it is almost as though our star sings. Its song is not heard by ears but felt through mathematics and instruments, a reminder that even in fire there is rhythm. The sun's light travels outward, filling space with warmth and comfort, a breath of stability in an otherwise cold void. Each ray that falls on Earth is a gift 8 minutes old, born in the core where hydrogen fuses into helium, the very same process that has powered our existence since the beginning. Though unimaginably violent at its center, the effect here, where we rest under its glow, is one of calm continuity. Days arrive and dissolve with its light. Seasons turn, and life unfolds all under the slow, measured pulse of this star. When ancient people looked upward, they did not see a furnace. They saw a companion reliable, nourishing, always returning. They built monuments to track its slow movement across the sky. Stone, shadow, and fire became tools for marking its rhythms. Without the sun's constancy, human history might never have found a pattern. The sun gave us calendars, harvests, warmth through winters. Its steady glow became civilization's first lullaby. And yet, to fall asleep under its influence is to remember that its stillness is only an illusion. Beneath the serene warmth lies turmoil, magnetic storms twisting into flares, plasma arching higher than the Earth itself, and waves of radiation rushing outward. But at our distance, that violence is muted, softened into the golden hues of dawn and dusk. From here, the sun is not terror, it is comfort. Astronomers know the sun as a variable star, prone to cycles of activity. But to human hearts, it feels eternal. Its gentle rise each morning whispers reassurance. Even if the world turns uncertain, even if shadows lengthen, the light will return. This constancy, measured in pulses of hydrogen and light, sustains the solar system in harmony. Imagine the solar system without this heartbeat. Imagine silence where there is warmth, emptiness where there is radiance. The thought alone underscores how much we rest in its rhythm. The sun is not simply a star, it is the slow, glowing metronome of existence, a presence that cradles planets, moons, dust, and comets in its embrace. As one drifts into rest, it is worth picturing the light still crossing space, brushing softly against worlds both barren and alive. It is everywhere at once, holding the entire system in balance. And when night falls, its memory lingers in the cooling air, in the glow of auroras, in the shimmer of oceans. The sun's gentle pulse is not just energy, it is the cosmic lull that reminds every living being that they are part of something vast, yet profoundly calm. Its warmth is the promise that tomorrow will arrive, just as it always has, with a golden breath at the edge of the horizon. Mercury drifts closest to the sun, a small world carved from stone and silence. It moves with extraordinary speed, its orbit completed in just 88 days, but despite this haste, there is no sound, no whisper of atmosphere to carry the music of its journey. Its surface is still and stark, scarred by craters from an ancient bombardment. In the absence of wind, those marks remain frozen in time, a quiet record of cosmic history written across its grey plains. To stand upon Mercury, if one could endure the blistering extremes, would be to enter a realm of profound hush. With no air to scatter sunlight, the sky is black even at noon. The sun looms 3 times larger than it does on Earth, casting light that burns with merciless intensity. Yet when the sun falls below the jagged horizon, the heat vanishes swiftly, and a deadly chill spreads across the land. In this cycle of searing day and freezing night, Mercury's silence becomes its most enduring quality. Despite its smallness, Mercury whispers truths about the solar system. It is thought to be the remnant of something larger, a planet stripped of much of its outer layers, perhaps by a colossal collision in the early days of planetary formation. What remains is an iron core and a thin shell of rock, circling faithfully around the Sunday. To scientists, Mercury is a clue to cosmic violence. To dreamers, it is a reminder of endurance, a world left bare, but still gliding in its orbit, unbroken. When spacecraft like Mariner 10 and Messenger revealed its face to us, they confirmed what telescopes had only hinted at. Mercury is a planet of quiet extremes. Vast plains of cooled lava spread across its surface, remnants of eruptions long since stilled. Towering cliffs stretch for hundreds of kilometers, formed as the planet's core cooled and shrank, wrinkling the crust into scarps. These structures rise in silence, holding their shape through aeons. And yet, in its stillness, Mercury holds a subtle rhythm. The planet rotates 3 times for every 2 orbits around the Sun, a resonance born from the Sun's powerful pull. This slow spin means a day on Mercury lasts 176 Earth days. Imagine a dawn so prolonged that it drags into weeks, a single sunrise stretching across a lifetime's worth of slumber. The pace of time itself feels altered here, stretched and softened into something almost dreamlike. There is no breeze, no river, no echo. The only motion is the quiet drift of dust, stirred by micrometeoroids falling endlessly onto its surface. Even the sun's breath, the solar wind, strikes Mercury directly, unshielded by atmosphere or magnetic field. The particles carve subtle changes, sculpting the surface at a pace imperceptible to any single moment. Over billions of years, even silence reshapes stone. To gaze upon Mercury is to see resilience in the most fragile form. It is battered, scorched, stripped bare, and yet still it endures. It neither complains nor falters, carrying out its orbit in unwavering silence. This whispering world reminds us that even the smallest planet holds dignity in its persistence. When sleep drifts near, one might imagine Mercury's slow, quiet spin. No voices, no sounds, no weather to disturb its stillness. Only the faint gleam of starlight falling upon craters, and the hushed passing of time measured not in days or hours, but in the endless patience of a world at peace with its solitude. Venus turns in slow motion, wrapped in a cloak of clouds that shine like pale gold. To the naked eye, it appears as the brightest object in the night sky after the moon, a beacon so luminous that ancient cultures mistook it for 2 different stars, the morning star and the evening star. And yet, this shining world hides its face beneath an atmosphere dense and secretive, a veil that conceals as much as it reveals. This atmosphere is thick beyond comprehension, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, with clouds of sulfuric acid drifting in perpetual layers. From afar, it glows softly, an eternal twilight veil that turns the planet into a gentle jewel in the sky. But beneath this beauty lies an environment of immense pressure and heat, a furnace where temperatures rise high enough to melt lead. The serenity of its golden glow masks a world utterly hostile to life as we know it. Venus rotates slowly, almost defiantly, spinning backwards compared to most other planets. A single day on Venus lasts longer than its year 243 Earth days for one rotation, 225 for one orbit. Imagine a world where the sun rises and sets not within hours, but over months, casting an endless dawn and a perpetual dusk across its strange surface. The effect is mesmerizing. Time itself feels stretched, unhurried, as though the planet drifts in an eternal dream. Though hidden, the surface has been glimpsed through radar mapping. What lies beneath the veil are vast plains of basalt, immense volcanoes, and fractured highlands. Once, scientists speculated Venus might harbor oceans, perhaps even life. But the truth revealed by probes was stranger. The oceans have long since boiled away, leaving a world sculpted by runaway greenhouse effects. Yet even here, there is calm in its constancy. The same dense clouds that suffocate the surface also smooth the planet's temperature, wrapping it in a blanket that leaves little variation between night and day. Venus also hums with winds. At its surface, air moves sluggishly, heavy under crushing pressure. But higher above, in the cloud tops, winds race around the planet at hurricane speeds, circling it in just 4 Earth days. And still, even in such ferocity, there is rhythm, a steady global rotation of clouds that swirl in graceful bands, creating a hypnotic dance of atmospheric currents. The upper layers of these clouds reflect sunlight so completely that Venus becomes a mirror in the sky, shining brighter than any other planet, its glow capable of casting shadows on Earth. The stillness of its surface and the mystery of its veil have long captured human imagination. Venus has been goddess, lover, star of guidance. Poets and astronomers alike saw in its glow something of beauty, even as its reality defied all earthly dreams. To imagine Venus is to picture a world lost in its own slowness, hidden behind curtains of golden light, turning backward in defiance of the norm. As slumber deepens, one might hold the image of Venus not as a place of danger, but as a lantern in the night sky. Its glow has comforted countless generations, a reminder that even amid harsh truths, beauty endures. It remains a dreamlike companion in the sky, offering its soft twilight veil to any who pause to gaze upward, letting its serenity guide them toward rest. Earth breathes, not in the way a living creature does, but as an entire system, oceans, forests, winds, and clouds rising and falling in a rhythm that has endured for billions of years. From space, our world appears as a blue and white sphere, turning with quiet assurance against the dark backdrop. Its surface glimmers with reflected sunlight, and every rotation brings a balance between day and night, light and shadow, warmth and coolness. This breathing symphony begins with the oceans. Vast reservoirs of water absorb sunlight by day and release their warmth by night, smoothing the fluctuations of temperature that would otherwise bring chaos. The waves move ceaselessly, pulled by the moon's gravity, creating tides that rise and fall with ancient regularity. In this endless rhythm, life finds its pulse. The winds carry the planet's second breath. Heated air near the equator rises, while cooler air from the poles sinks, setting in motion vast atmospheric currents. These flows paint the skies with clouds, sculpt storms, and deliver rains that feed rivers. But even storms, when seen from above, spiral with elegance, their swirling arms more like celestial flowers than forces of destruction. Earth's winds and waters, in their complexity, form a self-regulating balance, a whispering mechanism that keeps the planet's climate within the bounds of life. Then there is the unseen breath, the exchange of gases between land, sea, and sky. Forests exhale oxygen while inhaling carbon dioxide, while animals and people do the reverse. Microscopic plankton in the oceans produce more oxygen than all the rainforests combined, a quiet labor that sustains the atmosphere with every passing moment. Together, these exchanges create an invisible harmony, a chorus of respiration that encompasses all beings. To human eyes and ears, this planetary breathing is subtle, almost imperceptible. But with instruments, scientists have traced the seasonal rhythms of carbon dioxide rising in winter and falling in summer, like the chest of the planet rising and sinking as it rests. In the calm of night, one can almost imagine Earth inhaling under the blanket of stars, then exhaling as dawn unfurls across its continents. The balance of Earth's systems has not always been gentle. There were ages of fire and ice, epochs when continents shifted, climates changed, and extinctions swept across the land. And yet, through these cycles, Earth found equilibrium again and again. The breathing never ceased. It slowed, quickened, shifted in tone, but the pulse remained. This symphony also finds its voice in sound. Waves crash on shores, winds rustle through forests, rain falls on stone. Each is an expression of the greater breath of the planet, soothing rhythms that have lulled generations to sleep. The sound of rain, the murmur of ocean waves, the whisper of wind through leaves, these are echoes of planetary balance, natural lullabies that resonate with the same calm assurance that the sun gives to the solar system. Seen from afar, from the perspective of satellites or astronauts, Earth's calm is even more profound. Clouds sweep across its face in slow curls, continents drift beneath veils of white, and the blue of the oceans glimmers with a depth that seems infinite. It is as though the entire world were a single organism, turning gently in the void, cradled by the sun's steady light. To drift into rest is to align with this breathing, to imagine one's own chest rising and falling in harmony with oceans, winds, and forests. Earth is not simply a planet, it is the cradle of serenity in the solar system, a living sphere whose symphony has nurtured every dream humanity has ever known. And as long as its breath continues, so too does the quiet assurance that tomorrow will arrive, steady and calm. The moon drifts across the night sky with the patience of eternity, its pale light brushing softly across oceans, mountains, and sleeping fields. It has been with Earth since the earliest ages, a companion formed in cosmic violence, yet enduring as a constant presence above. Its glow is faint compared to the sun, but more intimate, a light that belongs to the quiet hours. For billions of years, the moon has sung its ancient lullaby through the tides. Its gravity tugs at the oceans, drawing them outward and back again, creating a rhythm that has shaped coastlines, nurtured life, and guided human timekeeping. This gentle pull stabilizes Earth's tilt, softening the chaos of seasonal extremes. Without it, Earth's axis might wander, climates might shift wildly, and the balance that sustains life would be far less certain. In silence, the moon holds Earth steady. Its surface is a frozen record of time. Craters sprawl across its plains, scars from impacts long past. There is no atmosphere to erase them, no water to wash them away. Every mark remains, unchanged for billions of years. Yet this permanence adds to the moon's calming presence, a reminder that though civilizations rise and fall, though storms sweep Earth's surface, some things endure untouched. To ancient peoples, the moon was a clock in the sky. Its cycles guided planting, harvest, and ritual. Its waxing and waning offered a visible rhythm by which time could be measured. Entire calendars were born of its glow. Its soft light became a companion to travelers, poets, and dreamers, a gentle reassurance in the dark. Modern science sees the moon not only as companion, but as guardian of memory. Its rocks preserve traces of the early solar system dust from the sun's infancy, remnants of collisions, echoes of the same material that once formed Earth. To walk upon its surface, as the Apollo astronauts did, was to step into history itself. And yet, even as their voices crackled through radios, the dominant presence around them was silence. The moon does not shine with its own fire. It reflects the sun's light, softened and diffused, transforming brilliance into calmness. Where the sun energizes, the moon soothes. Its light is cool, silvery, and slow, offering the perfect counterpoint to the day. And in its phases crescent, half, full, it mirrors the cycles of human life, beginnings, fullness, and decline, all repeating without end. Perhaps the most comforting gift of the moon is its constancy. Night after night, it rises, sometimes hidden, sometimes diminished, sometimes glowing in full splendor, but always returning. In this, it reassures us of continuity, of cycles unbroken. Even when clouds obscure it, we know it is still there, pulling gently on oceans, guiding tides, balancing Earth in its embrace. As the eyes grow heavy and thoughts dissolve into dream, the moon remains above, a sentinel in silver light. It whispers across the ages the same lullaby it has always sung, that time is patient, that cycles endure, that even in darkness there is calm illumination. It is the night's quiet promise, the ancient glow that eases humanity into sleep. Mars turns quietly beneath the sun, its rust-red deserts glowing softly against the black of space. It is a world of stillness, a place where silence reigns over endless plains and mountains that stretch into skies of pale orange. Once, rivers carved valleys, and perhaps oceans lay across its surface. Now, those waters are gone, leaving behind only whispers of what might have been. In this silence, Mars speaks of absence, of memory, of dreams deferred. The air here is thin, less than 1% the density of Earth's atmosphere. The winds do stir, and sometimes they rise into dust storms that can engulf the entire planet. But even those storms, vast as they seem, are more like whispers than roars, carrying little weight in the thin air. When the winds fall still, Mars becomes almost motionless, as though the whole world has paused in reflection. Its soil is iron-rich, giving the planet its distinct red hue. To gaze upon Mars is to look upon rusted stone, a surface preserved in dryness for billions of years. Unlike Earth, where rain and rivers sculpt landscapes anew, Mars preserves the memory of its past. Riverbeds remain etched in its crust, canyons stretch wider than any on Earth, volcanoes rise taller than any mountain we know, and yet none are alive today. Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system, is a silent giant, its fires long extinguished. The stillness of Mars is not emptiness, but a kind of patience. Beneath its frozen soils lies water ice, locked away like a promise for the future. In its polar caps, layers of frost shift slowly with the seasons, breathing faint cycles of sublimation and return. These changes are delicate, measured in millimeters, and yet they continue with ancient rhythm, marking time on a planet where days, sols, last just slightly longer than Earth's. For centuries, humanity has gazed at Mars with longing. Telescopes revealed its surface, sparking visions of canals and civilizations. Writers dreamed of Martians, of worlds parallel to ours. Later, spacecraft showed us not cities, but plains and craters, windswept deserts and frozen poles. The mystery shifted from who lives there to what once lived there, what might live there still. Even today, rovers crawl slowly across its surface, their wheels carving faint tracks in dust that has lain untouched for eons. Mars does not answer. It waits. Its silence is not cold indifference, but quiet endurance. It holds within its rocks clues to its past, traces of ancient rivers, minerals formed in water, chemical signatures that hint at possibility. Scientists study these patiently, listening for echoes of life. But whether Mars holds secrets of life or only silence, its gift remains the same: the reminder that even barren worlds can be beautiful in their stillness. At night, the Martian sky glows with Earth as a bright star. Imagine standing there, looking upward, and seeing our own world as a shimmering light, a reversal of our perspective, a reminder of how small and connected all worlds truly are. To dream of Mars is to dream of two planets forever watching one another across the void. As sleep draws near, one might carry the image of Mars's rust-red plains, stretching endlessly under a quiet sky. No sound of rivers, no rush of wind, only the still hush of a world in repose, holding the memory of waters long gone and the patience of time yet to come. Between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter lies a realm that is neither planet nor void. It is the asteroid belt, a vast, gentle drift of stones, scattered fragments of worlds that never came to be. To imagine it is not to picture chaos, but quiet balance. Countless bodies, large and small, circling in silence, their orbits braided together like threads in a cosmic tapestry. From a distance, the belt seems crowded in the imagination, like a storm of rocks colliding endlessly, yet the truth is calmer. These objects are spread across immense distances, so far apart that a spacecraft passing through is unlikely to see even one. Each asteroid drifts alone, yet together they form a vast ring, a soft haze of matter encircling the Sunday. These are remnants from the birth of the solar system, primordial rock and metal left over from the great accretion of planets. Jupiter's immense gravity prevented them from uniting into a single world. Instead, they remain as fragments, frozen in time, orbiting endlessly. They are the memory of beginnings, preserved in stone. Some are no larger than pebbles. Others, like Ceres, rise to the size of small worlds, spherical under their own gravity. Their surfaces are pocked with craters, scarred by collisions long past, yet still they float gently in the dark. Occasionally, two paths cross and a collision occurs, but even then, the violence is softened by the scale of time. Over billions of years, those fragments are ground smaller and smaller, joining the drifting dust that glimmers faintly in sunlight. The stillness of the belt carries a strange beauty. To imagine it is to see scattered jewels orbiting in slow procession, each reflecting sunlight, each following its path in harmony with the others. The distances between them may be vast, but together they embody the idea of quiet company, countless stones circling as one. Spacecraft have visited this realm, passing silently among its guardians. They revealed landscapes of grey and gold, mountains rising from tiny worlds, shadows stretching across plains untouched since creation. From these fragments, scientists learn of Earth's origins, of the chemistry that gave rise to oceans and life. Each asteroid is a page in the story of the solar system, drifting in stillness, waiting to be read. At night, one might picture the asteroid belt as a slow snowfall of stone, suspended forever in space. No collisions, no storms, just the serene dance of countless fragments circling the Sunday, a dreamlike drift, carrying the memory of beginnings, whispering softly through the silence of the void. Jupiter rises in the outer solar system like a vast, protective presence. It is the largest planet, so immense that all the other worlds could fit within its bulk, and still there would be room left over. Its swirling clouds and colossal storms may appear restless and violent, but beyond their turbulence lies a deeper truth. Jupiter is the great guardian, the soothing embrace that shields the inner worlds from chaos. Its gravity is the key. With a mass more than 300 times that of Earth, Jupiter's pull reshapes the paths of comets and asteroids. Many that would otherwise plunge inward toward the fragile worlds of the inner solar system are caught in its grasp, deflected into new orbits, or swallowed whole by its vast atmosphere. Without Jupiter, the story of Earth might have been very different. Life may never have flourished if impacts had been too frequent, if the sky had rained too many stones. Jupiter's silent watch has kept the inner worlds safer than they might otherwise be. Seen through telescopes, Jupiter is mesmerizing. Bands of white, red, and ochre wrap around its body, the result of vast jet streams and chemical storms. Yet even as these storms rage, their patterns are remarkably steady, flowing in ordered belts. The Great Red Spot, a hurricane larger than Earth, has spun for centuries, perhaps millennia, its persistence a reminder that even in turbulence there can be constancy. Jupiter radiates more heat than it receives from the Sun, glowing faintly with energy from its immense core. It is a world of internal fire, yet its effect across the solar system is calmness. Moons circle it in intricate harmony. Io, with its volcanic plumes, Europa with its hidden ocean, Ganymede with its magnetic field, Callisto with its cratered face. Together, they form a miniature solar system of their own, orbiting in resonance, locked in step by gravity's invisible hand. To imagine Jupiter's embrace is to picture an immense sphere, quietly bending the fabric of space. Every object that wanders near feels its pull. Some are cast away, others are drawn inward, but all are guided by its invisible tether. In this way, Jupiter plays the role of silent sentinel, shaping the destiny of countless smaller worlds. Astronomers sometimes call Jupiter the solar system's vacuum cleaner, sweeping away debris that might otherwise bring destruction. But there is something more profound in this role. It is a reminder that the cosmos is not only violent but protective, that vast forces can nurture as well as destroy. Jupiter embodies that paradox, its storms fierce, its gravity gentle in its guardianship. As sleep approaches, one might imagine floating above Jupiter's cloud tops, watching the bands flow in endless rhythm, hearing the quiet hum of a world so large it bends the path of time itself. The sense of scale is overwhelming, yet comforting. Here is a world so vast, so steady in its embrace, that even the fragile inner planets rest under its silent protection. Jupiter's soothing embrace is the comfort of knowing that amid the chaos of space, there are giants that guard the fragile flame of life. It is the solar system's quiet promise, a presence of unimaginable size and strength, holding its place in the cosmic symphony with unshakable grace. Saturn drifts at the edge of the visible sky, a pale golden orb adorned with rings so delicate and so vast they seem almost unreal. Through a telescope, it is one of the most breathtaking sights in all of astronomy, a planet encircled by bands of icy fragments that glisten like scattered diamonds in the darkness. Though immense in scale, Saturn's rings exude quiet elegance, a beauty born not from violence, but from balance and stillness. The rings are made of countless pieces of ice and rock, ranging from grains no larger than dust to boulders meters across. Each fragment orbits Saturn in harmony, their paths choreographed by gravity into precise bands. Seen together, they create the illusion of solidity, but in truth, they are nothing more than particles drifting in serene formation. Their silence is absolute. If one could stand among them, there would be no sound, only the steady motion of icy stones circling endlessly, reflecting the sun's soft light. The story of the rings is one of transience. They may have formed from the remnants of a shattered moon, torn apart by Saturn's immense tidal forces. Or perhaps they are the leftover debris of the early solar system, preserved by Saturn's pull. Whatever their origin, they are fragile, destined eventually to fade. Over millions of years, the particles will either fall into Saturn or drift away. Yet in this moment, they are among the most tranquil wonders of the cosmos, a celestial crown that will one day vanish into memory. Beyond the rings, Saturn itself is a world of quiet majesty. Its atmosphere is pale and muted, with soft bands of yellow, cream, and gold. Storms drift across its face, but they appear more subdued than Jupiter's wild patterns, as if Saturn itself prefers calmness. Its density is so low that, if placed in a vast ocean, Saturn would float. This lightness adds to its aura of serenity, as though even gravity bows gently to its nature. Orbiting Saturn are moons that weave their own rhythms into the planet's symphony. Some of these moons shepherd the rings, their gravity corralling particles into narrow paths. Others dance in resonances, their orbits intertwined like steps in a celestial ballet. Together, planet, rings, and moons form a system of astonishing balance, so intricate and precise that it feels less like chance and more like music written in the language of gravity. To gaze at Saturn through a telescope is to feel a sudden quiet, as though the universe itself pauses. The rings curve around the planet in perfect stillness, suspended against the black of space. No motion is visible to the human eye, yet everything moves with clockwork precision. It is a sight that has inspired wonder since Galileo first glimpsed it in 1610, mistaking the rings for strange ears or satellites. Later astronomers refined the vision, but the sense of awe has never lessened. Saturn is not just a planet, it is a symbol of calm beauty amid the vastness of space. Its rings are not permanent, yet in their fleeting existence they offer something rare, the chance to witness serenity made visible. They are the quietest spectacle in the solar system, the most delicate chorus in the cosmic symphony. As one drifts towards sleep, Saturn's rings can be imagined as soft arcs of ice, encircling a golden planet in silence. No sound, no storm, only the slow, eternal motion of billions of tiny fragments moving together as one. It is the purest image of stillness, the quiet crown of the solar system, whispering across the void. Far beneath Saturn's glowing rings lies a moon unlike any other. Titan, wrapped in a haze of orange, circles its parent planet with the calm dignity of a world that carries oceans in the cold. Though smaller than Earth, it is larger than Mercury, a realm shrouded in mystery until spacecraft revealed its secret: seas and lakes, not of water, but of liquid methane and ethane, spread across its surface like glassy mirrors. To imagine Titan is to envision a dream in slow motion. Its atmosphere is thick and golden, scattering sunlight into a perpetual twilight. The sun, from Titan's distance, is no brighter than a faint lantern. Yet this dim light glows softly through the haze, illuminating rivers of liquid hydrocarbons that meander across the landscape. Lakes glisten at the poles, their surfaces still and reflective, as if Titan were a world sculpted for silence. The presence of seas on Titan makes it unique. Nowhere else in the solar system, besides Earth, has stable liquid on the surface. And while Earth's seas move with the rhythm of water, Titan's methane lakes shift with otherworldly patience, their surfaces smoothed by the dense air, their waves small and slow. To float upon such a lake would be to drift in quiet suspension, surrounded by a haze that muffles every horizon. Spacecraft like Cassini and its companion probe Huygens gave us glimpses of this calm realm. Huygens descended through Titan's clouds in 2005, landing softly upon its surface. For a few hours, it transmitted images: flat plains of rounded stones, smoothed by rivers that once flowed across the landscape. Even in those brief pictures, there was serenity, an alien stillness that mirrored Earth's quiet valleys and streams. The lakes of Titan may one day call to explorers. Their liquid, though too cold for us, might one day harbor robotic vessels, drifting across their surfaces, measuring, listening, watching. The dream of exploration here is not of conquest, but of gentle observation, of floating silently across alien seas beneath a twilight sky. Beyond its lakes, Titan holds other wonders. Its atmosphere, rich in nitrogen, is more like Earth's than any other in the solar system. Its thick haze shields the surface from the cold of space, wrapping it in a constant embrace. And beneath its crust of ice, scientists believe there may lie a hidden ocean of liquid water, a place where warmth and chemistry could combine to create the conditions for life. Titan's gift to the solar system is not only its mystery, but its calm. It is a reminder that even in the frozen outer reaches, worlds can hold seas, rivers, and skies different from ours, yet familiar in their poetry. Titan reflects the idea that the cosmos, though vast and strange, still carries echoes of Earth's serenity in distant, unexpected places. As sleep approaches, one might picture drifting in a small vessel upon a methane sea, the waves barely moving, the horizon blurred by orange haze. Above, Saturn looms faintly in the sky, its rings casting subtle shadows. The silence is complete, broken only by the soft lapping of alien liquid against the hull. Titan's dream is one of still waters and endless twilight, a lullaby of calm in the farthest reaches of the solar system. Far from Earth's familiar seas lies a tiny moon that hides an astonishing secret. Enceladus, a gleaming white sphere no wider than Arizona, circles Saturn in quiet isolation. At first glance, it appears unremarkable, just another icy satellite among dozens. But closer study revealed something extraordinary. Beneath its frozen crust, Enceladus is alive with motion, whispering through fountains of water vapor that spray softly into space. These geysers burst from cracks near its south pole, known as tiger stripes. They rise hundreds of kilometers into the void, delicate plumes that glimmer in sunlight. Unlike the violent eruptions of volcanoes on Earth, Enceladus's fountains are gentle, like streams of snow drifting upward in slow motion. Each plume carries grains of ice and traces of organic molecules, hints of an ocean hidden below. The discovery was made by Cassini, the spacecraft that explored Saturn and its moons for over a decade. Passing through these geysers, Cassini tasted the spray with its instruments, finding salts and simple organics ingredients of life itself. From this evidence, scientists concluded that beneath Enceladus's icy crust lies a global ocean, warmed by tidal forces as Saturn's gravity pulls and flexes the tiny moon's interior. In that dark sea, hydrothermal vents may bubble, releasing energy into the water. It is a place where life, perhaps, could dwell. And yet, for all its significance, Enceladus projects stillness. Its surface is smooth and bright, reflecting sunlight like fresh snow. Craters are few, as though ice continually renews itself, erasing scars of the past. To gaze upon it is to see purity, a world of ice and light, softly glowing in the shadow of its giant planet. Even its geysers, though dynamic, rise with grace, like whispered breaths carried into the void. Imagine standing upon Enceladus's frozen plains. The sky is black, Saturn enormous above, its rings spanning the heavens. In the distance, faint plumes rise, arching upward and falling back as snow. The silence would be complete, no air, no wind, only the faint crunch of ice beneath one's feet. It is a scene of serenity, where the very act of eruption becomes a lullaby. The plumes of Enceladus also feed Saturn's rings. Tiny ice particles drift outward, joining the great arcs that encircle the planet. In this way, Enceladus contributes to the beauty of its parent, weaving its fountains into the larger harmony of the Saturnian system. Its quiet labor is invisible from afar, yet essential to the balance of the whole. Scientists dream of returning to this moon, to dive again through its plumes, to send landers that could sip from its ocean without drilling through miles of ice. The possibility of life, however faint, turns Enceladus into one of the most intriguing worlds in the solar system. But beyond speculation, its calm beauty alone is enough to inspire. As eyes close, one might picture Enceladus not as a scientific puzzle, but as a fountain of light in the dark, gentle sprays of ice, drifting upward like feathers, illuminated by a distant sun, a frozen world singing softly into space, reminding us that even in silence there can be wonder. Uranus turns upon its side, a world tilted so far that it rolls along its orbit like a drifting sphere in slow rotation. This peculiar inclination 98 degrees from vertical gives Uranus a strangeness unmatched by any other planet. Its poles, instead of its equator, face the sun for decades at a time, plunging half the planet into long twilight, while the other half basks in unending day. Seasons here last not months, but decades, stretched out in a serenity so strange it feels like time itself has slowed. From afar, Uranus glows with a pale cyan light. Its color comes from methane in its atmosphere, which absorbs red light and reflects blue. Unlike the turbulent storms of Jupiter or Saturn, Uranus presents a calm, almost featureless face to telescopes. Clouds drift faintly in its upper layers, but they are subdued, as though the planet has chosen stillness over spectacle. It rotates quickly once every 17 hours, but its tilted orientation turns that spin into something quiet, graceful, and hypnotic. Voyager 2, the only spacecraft to visit Uranus, revealed this calmness in 1986. It showed a planet of muted beauty, faint rings circling its waist, moons tumbling in odd, tilted paths. Uranus did not roar with activity, it whispered. Its faint magnetic field was offset and tilted, adding to its strangeness. Its moons, with names drawn from Shakespeare and Alexander Pope, orbit like actors in a silent play. Miranda with its fractured cliffs, Ariel and Umbriel with icy surfaces, Titania and Oberon with shadows carved into their faces. Together, they form a quiet retinue around their tilted lord. The calm of Uranus hides mysteries. Its core radiates little heat, far less than other giant planets. It is as though Uranus keeps its energy locked deep inside, unwilling to reveal its secrets. Theories suggest that a colossal collision in the solar system's youth may have knocked it onto its side, scattering its heat and leaving it colder than its neighbors. Whatever the truth, Uranus remains a silent enigma, drifting with subdued dignity at the edge of sight. To imagine Uranus is to picture a serene turquoise sphere rolling gently through darkness, its seasons unfolding at a pace that dwarfs human time. Entire lives could pass while one pole gazes endlessly into the sun, the other submerged in shadow. Its tilted axis becomes a cosmic meditation, a reminder that even in the most unusual states, balance can be found. As one drifts toward rest, Uranus offers a vision of slow procession, a sideways planet turning calmly, decades of day and decades of night sliding softly across its surface. No storms to rage, no chaos to fear, only a world that chose a different path, rolling quietly, serenely, on its way around the Sunday. Neptune waits in the far reaches of the solar system, a deep sapphire sphere where sunlight is dim and faint. At 30 times the distance of Earth from the sun, its glow is subdued, a lantern shining softly in the cold. To gaze upon Neptune is to see a world of hushed grandeur, a place where distance has softened every detail into quiet beauty. Its color is unlike any other, a rich, deep blue that comes from methane absorbing red light and scattering what remains. This blue is not still, however. Within it move subtle patterns of clouds and storms, spirals of white that drift across the planet's face. Neptune may host the fastest winds in the solar system, reaching speeds of over 2,000 kilometers per hour, yet these gales, when seen from afar, appear as smooth streaks, graceful rather than violent, like brush strokes across a canvas. The most famous of its tempests, the Great Dark Spot, was discovered in 1989 by Voyager 2. It loomed like a shadow against Neptune's blue, a massive storm larger than Earth itself. And yet, when telescopes looked again years later, it was gone, dissolved back into the planet's serene atmosphere. New dark spots appeared elsewhere, forming and vanishing with quiet impermanence, like clouds drifting in and out of existence. Neptune's storms may be fierce, but their transience adds to its aura of mystery, a planet that reveals nothing for long. Orbiting Neptune is Triton, a moon that defies expectation. Unlike most moons, Triton moves backward against the planet's rotation, suggesting it was captured long ago from the Kuiper belt. Its surface is pale and frosted, with geysers that spout nitrogen gas into space. Like Enceladus, Triton hides the possibility of an ocean beneath its ice, a secret sea carried silently through the cold outer dark. Together, Neptune and Triton embody serenity amid strangeness, a calm planet and a moon moving against its grain, yet locked together in companionship. Neptune itself radiates more heat than it receives, glowing faintly from within. This warmth stirs its atmosphere, driving winds that circle endlessly, unseen but persistent. And yet, despite the speed of these currents, the effect is mesmerizing rather than chaotic. From Earth, Neptune's weather appears as subtle motions, faint bands drifting across its deep blue body. Distance transforms violence into calm. To imagine Neptune is to picture a world of endless ocean, though no liquid water laps its surface. It is a giant of hydrogen, helium, and methane, its atmosphere dense and strange, its depths uncertain. Perhaps beneath the clouds lies a mantle of water, ammonia, and ice, compressed into exotic forms. Whatever its hidden layers, Neptune remains enigmatic, its secrets softened by distance. As one drifts into sleep, Neptune offers the vision of a tranquil blue lantern at the edge of the sun's light. It shines not fiercely, but gently, its presence quiet and enduring. Its winds may howl, but across the abyss they are softened into whispers, like the distant sound of waves on a forgotten shore. Neptune is the outermost sentinel, the planet of murmurs, reminding us that even at the farthest edges, beauty and calm remain. Beyond Neptune's faint blue glow lies a world that once held the title of planet, then lost it, yet never its place in the hearts of those who gaze outward. Pluto drifts in the shadowed calm of the Kuiper belt, a frozen body small enough to be humbled by moons, yet large enough to carry valleys, mountains, and plains upon its face. It is a world of stillness, where sunlight is a pale memory, dimmer than twilight on Earth. And yet, within this darkness, Pluto carries a quiet dignity, a frozen heart beating faintly beneath its crust. When the New Horizons spacecraft arrived in 2015, it transformed Pluto from a distant blur into a landscape. What it revealed surprised the world. Across its surface stretched a vast, icy plain shaped like a heart-Sputnik Planitia, a basin filled with nitrogen ice. Its smooth expanse is nearly free of craters, as though the planet continues to renew its skin, erasing the marks of time. Pluto is not entirely dead, but alive with slow, hidden processes, ices flowing like glaciers, surfaces reshaped in silence. Mountains of frozen water rise on Pluto, some taller than the Rockies. They stand against a dim horizon, casting long shadows under the faint light of the Sunday. Between them, valleys and plains lie still, filled with exotic ices that expand and contract with the seasons. The air, thin and tenuous, forms a fragile atmosphere that collapses and reforms as Pluto drifts closer or farther from the Sunday. Each of these cycles takes centuries, measured in the rhythm of Pluto's 248-year orbit. Its companion, Charon, is nearly half its size, locked in a mutual embrace. The two worlds circle one another, so closely tied that both always show the same face. They are companions in darkness, forever sharing the same dance, bound by gravity's gentle thread. This duet transforms Pluto into more than a lonely wanderer. It is part of a partnership, a quiet echo of connection at the edge of the solar system. Though distant, Pluto has captured human imagination for decades. It is the symbol of mystery, the frontier of the known. Its demotion from planet to dwarf planet did not lessen its allure. Instead, it deepened its role as an emblem of the overlooked, the small, the persistent. In Pluto's icy calm, many find reflection that even the smallest world can hold wonders vast enough to stir the human soul. From its surface, the sun appears as a brilliant star, but no longer the blazing disk we know. Its warmth is weak, its light muted, shadows stretch long, and the cold is absolute. Yet Pluto does not complain. It continues its orbit, carrying its heart-shaped plane, its mountains of ice, its companion moon, through the endless dark. As dreams approach, Pluto offers its frozen serenity. A world so far away, so quiet, and yet so filled with subtle life. Ice shifting, nitrogen flowing, mountains rising, companions circling. It is the calm at the edge, the whisper that reminds us the solar system has no hard boundary, only a gentle fading into silence. Beyond Pluto, the solar system begins to dissolve into distance. Here lies the Kuiper Belt, a vast, shadowed expanse where countless icy wanderers drift in slow procession. These are remnants of creation, small bodies never gathered into planets, preserved in the frozen dark for billions of years. To imagine the Kuiper Belt is to picture a great drift of worlds, scattered like faint embers at the edge of the sun's light. The Kuiper Belt is wide and diffuse, stretching from Neptune's orbit outwards for billions of kilometers. Within it move objects of every scale, icy boulders no larger than mountains, dwarf planets like Haumea and Makemake, and distant companions such as Eris, rivaling Pluto in size. Each follows a lonely path, circling the sun in silence. Unlike the crowded imagination of science fiction, space here is vast, the distances between bodies enormous. Yet together, they form a community of wanderers, bound by their shared exile in the cold. These objects are ancient, untouched since the birth of the solar system. Their ices preserve the chemistry of its beginnings, frozen records of the primordial cloud that collapsed into planets and stars. To study them is to read the oldest pages of the solar system's story, a history written in frozen methane, ammonia, and water. Some Kuiper Belt objects orbit in resonances with Neptune, their paths carefully shaped by its gravity. Others tilt and stretch into eccentric orbits, tracing arcs that take centuries to complete. Among them, Pluto is not alone, but one of many, a reminder that the solar system is not a neat hierarchy of planets, but a continuum that fades into mystery. The Kuiper Belt is also the birthplace of comets. From its frozen edges, icy bodies are sometimes nudged inward, beginning long journeys toward the Sunday. When they approach, their ices awaken, glowing with tails of light, yet most remain in quiet slumber, circling unseen in the dark. From Earth, we cannot see the Kuiper Belt with the naked eye. It exists as a whisper in mathematics, in faint points of light glimpsed by telescopes, in the slow drift of objects revealed by patient observation. Its presence reminds us that the solar system does not end with Neptune or Pluto, but continues outward, thinning gradually, like music fading into silence. To drift into sleep is to imagine this region as a sea of frozen wanderers, each one patient, each one enduring. They move so slowly that their orbits outlast empires, species, perhaps even civilizations. In their stillness lies a kind of peace, the calm of worlds that ask nothing, demand nothing, but simply drift in their endless night. The Kuiper Belt's gentle drift is the solar system's twilight, the soft frontier where light dims and silence deepens. It is the place where planets give way to memory, where the sun's warmth grows faint, and where the universe begins to merge with the greater void beyond. From the Kuiper Belt, some bodies are nudged inward, pulled slowly toward the heart of the solar system. These are the comets, ancient travelers that carry with them the frozen memory of creation. Their paths are not circles but vast ellipses, stretching far into the outer dark before curving back toward the Sunday. They move with patience, sometimes taking thousands, even millions of years to return, and when they do, they awaken into fleeting brilliance. Comets are made of ice, dust, and rock, fragile conglomerates that have remained unchanged since the solar system's birth. In the frozen outskirts, they sleep as dark, cold nuclei. But as they drift closer to the sun, heat stirs them awake. Ice sublimates into vapor, carrying dust into space, forming a glowing coma around the core. From this haze, tails emerge, streams of gas and dust that always point away from the sun, lit by sunlight like luminous veils. These tails can stretch for millions of kilometers, shimmering silently across the sky. To ancient people, their sudden appearance was a marvel, sometimes a fearsome omen. But in truth, comets are gentle visitors, messengers from the farthest reaches, their brilliance born not from violence, but from the soft release of vapor into sunlight. Their beauty is fleeting, yet deeply calming, a reminder that even the most patient wanderers eventually awaken into light. Each comet has its own path, its own rhythm. Some return frequently, like Halley's Comet, seen every 76 years, its visits marking generations. Others will not return for tens of thousands of years. And some, pulled too close to the sun, are torn apart, scattering their icy fragments into streams that Earth later crosses as meteor showers. In these showers, fragments no larger than grains of sand flare briefly in our skies, creating streaks of light that vanish as quickly as dreams. Comets are not just spectacle, they are carriers of possibility. Some scientists believe they may have delivered water and organic molecules to the early Earth, seeding the conditions for life. If so, then each comet is more than a wanderer. It is a quiet bringer of beginnings, a thread woven into the story of life itself. Their journeys remind us of time's vastness. A comet that left the Oort cloud when mammoths roamed Earth may only now be returning. Another that passes us tonight will not return until humanity has become something entirely different, or perhaps gone altogether. Yet, in their patience, comets embody tranquility. They do not hurry. They drift, they circle, they glow briefly, and then they fade again into the dark. To dream of comets is to imagine slow arcs of ice sweeping across the sky, veils of light suspended against the stars. Their motion is unhurried, their beauty soft, their presence a fleeting gift. They remind us that the solar system is not only planets and moons, but also the quiet wanderers that move between them, carrying with them the memory of beginnings and the promise of return. As sleep deepens, the image of a comet's glowing tail lingers, a luminous thread unspooling across the night, a soft and patient journey written upon the silence of space. The sun, though steady in its golden glow, does not remain silent. From its surface streams a constant breath, the solar wind, a river of charged particles flowing outward in every direction. It is invisible to the eye, weightless against the senses, and yet it stretches across billions of kilometers, brushing every world, every moon, every stone that drifts in orbit. The solar wind begins in the sun's corona, the outer atmosphere where temperatures soar to millions of degrees. Here, atoms are stripped of their electrons, forming plasma that expands outward, unable to remain bound by gravity. This exhalation never ceases. It flows past Mercury, past Earth, past Neptune and beyond, carrying with it whispers of the sun's hidden storms. Though fierce at its birth, by the time it reaches the outer planets, it has softened into a faint, delicate breeze. On Earth, the solar wind is mostly unseen. Our magnetic field catches it, bending its charged particles around the planet, creating a protective shield known as the magnetosphere. Without this invisible armor, Earth's atmosphere might have long ago been stripped away, as happened to Mars. But instead, the solar wind is transformed into something beautiful. It slips along magnetic field lines, colliding with atoms high in the atmosphere, and gives rise to auroras. Elsewhere, the wind sculpts space in silence. It shapes the tails of comets, streaming them outward away from the sunday. It creates invisible boundaries around planets, stirring faint magnetic storms. And far beyond Pluto, the solar wind finally slows, colliding with the interstellar medium, forming a bubble known as the heliosphere, the sun's protective cocoon around the solar system. Within it, the solar wind hums softly. Beyond it lies the true silence of interstellar space. Spacecraft have measured this breath, feeling the gentle push of particles. Voyager 1 and 2, traveling outward for decades, eventually crossed the heliopause, where the sun's breath ends and the galaxy begins. Their instruments recorded the fading of the solar wind, a soft farewell that marked humanity's first steps into the interstellar night. The solar wind is not violent. It does not howl or tear like storms on Earth. Instead, it is steady, continuous, like the slow exhalation of a sleeping giant. Its particles drift silently, each one carrying energy born in the heart of the sun, each one a messenger that the star is alive and breathing. To imagine the solar wind is to picture a soft stream of lightless air, brushing against every world, touching every moon, carrying the sun's presence to the farthest edges. It is the quiet link that binds the solar system together, a breath that reassures us that the sun's life endures. As dreams deepen, one might imagine this cosmic breath brushing softly across the skin like the faintest breeze on a summer night. It is a reminder that even across unimaginable distances, the sun's warmth and presence extend outward, reaching everything, holding everything in its invisible embrace. When the solar wind reaches Earth, it does not always remain unseen. At times, its charged particles slip into the upper atmosphere, colliding with oxygen and nitrogen atoms, releasing energy in the form of light. What results is one of the most tranquil spectacles of the solar system: the aurora, silent curtains of color that ripple across polar skies like a dream given form. The aurora borealis in the north and the aurora australis in the south mirror each other, vast bands of green, red, purple, and blue unfolding against the night. They flow like rivers of light, shimmering with a slowness that soothes rather than startles. The colors shift, brighten, and fade, never rushing, always drifting, as though the sky itself has become a veil of silk. No sound accompanies them. Even when the heavens blaze with shifting arcs, the silence remains complete, a reminder that the greatest wonders do not need voices. For ancient people, the auroras were omens, messages from gods or spirits. But modern science reveals their quiet simplicity: streams of solar particles guided by Earth's magnetic field, striking high in the atmosphere, glowing where the sky is thin and cold. The science does not diminish the beauty. Instead, it deepens it, showing that these lights are not random, but part of the great breath of the sun, transformed into color by Earth's protective shield. Each element paints its own hue. Oxygen glows green and red, nitrogen glows blue and violet. Together, they weave a palette across the sky, a luminous dance choreographed by invisible forces. Sometimes the aurora appears as arcs that stretch across the horizon. Other times, it ripples like a curtain caught in a breeze. And on rare nights, It forms a crown overhead, rays converging at the zenith, as if the heavens themselves were opening. Auroras are not confined to Earth. Jupiter and Saturn, with their powerful magnetic fields, host their own polar lights. There, auroras burn constantly, massive halos of energy circling their poles, glowing in ultraviolet and infrared light. On those distant giants, the solar wind finds other canvases, painting its silent art across atmospheres far beyond our own. To witness an aurora is to feel the blending of science and poetry. One knows it is plasma, magnetism, atoms colliding. Yet in the moment, those explanations fade, and what remains is wonder, the feeling of being small beneath a vast, living sky. The aurora reminds us that the solar system is not static but alive, its invisible forces becoming visible in bursts of color and light. As eyes grow heavy, one can imagine lying beneath the auroral sky, the air crisp and still, the heavens flowing with colors too soft to disturb, too slow to alarm. Each wave of green, each flicker of violet, is like a breath in the night, a lullaby written in light. The aurora is Earth's way of whispering back to the sun, answering its breath with beauty, turning invisible storms into a song of color for those who watch in silence. Sometimes, the solar system composes its most serene wonders not through storms or glowing skies, but through geometry. Eclipses are among the quietest of these performances, brief alignments where one body passes into the shadow of another. They are not accidents, but the precise unfolding of orbital paths, moments when the vastness of space produces an intimate spectacle of shadow and light. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon drifts between Earth and the Sunday. For a few minutes, the daylight fades, and the sky takes on the quiet stillness of twilight. Birds fall silent, winds soften, and a hush spreads across the world. The sun, usually blinding, becomes a delicate ring of light, its corona spilling into the sky in pale strands. Though the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, it is also 400 times farther away, a coincidence so precise that the moon can cover it perfectly. In that alignment lies one of nature's most soothing illusions, a reminder of the fragile harmonies that shape our world. A lunar eclipse, by contrast, occurs when Earth stands between the sun and the moon, casting its shadow across its companion. Slowly, gently, the moon darkens, not vanishing but glowing red as sunlight filters through Earth's atmosphere. For hours, the transformation unfolds with unhurried patience, a slow dance of shadow that anyone beneath the night sky can witness. The moon, usually pale and constant, becomes a quiet ember, glowing softly in silence. Elsewhere in the solar system, eclipses happen with their own beauty. On Jupiter, the 4 great Galilean moons often cast their shadows across the planet's clouds, creating moving spots of darkness that drift in serene arcs. Saturn, too, hosts such events, its rings casting shadows across its globe, its moons passing before one another in endless cycles of concealment and reveal. Each eclipse is a pause, a moment when worlds align so perfectly that silence itself seems to deepen. Eclipses carry both mystery and comfort. They remind us that the solar system is not random chaos, but a clockwork of movement so precise that shadows can be predicted centuries in advance. They are proof of order in vastness, of quiet regularity in the face of cosmic scale. To witness one is to feel the world slow. The air cools, the light softens, and for a moment the universe feels intimate, as though the heavens lean closer. There is no sound, only the slow encroachment of shadow, then its gentle retreat. As dreams beckon, one can imagine lying beneath such an eclipse, not fearful, but calm, watching light give way to shadow and shadow return to light. It is the simplest of cosmic plays, performed with patience, rehearsed for billions of years. A shadow passes, a glow returns, and in that brief, quiet alignment, the solar system whispers the reassurance of rhythm. Gravity is the quiet architect of the solar system, the invisible hand that binds planets, moons, asteroids, and comets in their endless procession around the Sunday. It has no color, no sound, no scent. It is intangible, yet it threads through every atom, shaping every orbit, holding every world in place. Without it, the solar system would scatter into chaos, its fragments drifting endlessly into the void. With it, there is calm, the assurance of paths traced in silence, repeated across eternity. From the smallest pebble drifting in the asteroid belt to the immense bulk of Jupiter, all move because of gravity's unseen tether. The Sun, with its vast mass, pulls everything toward it, and yet this pull does not end in collision. Instead, gravity balances with motion. Planets fall toward the Sun, but their sideways momentum keeps them moving, forever circling. What results is harmony. A cosmic dance where each step is measured, each turn steady, each orbit an expression of balance. Einstein revealed that gravity is more than a force. It is the very shape of space and time. The Sun bends the fabric of reality around it, creating curves that planets follow as naturally as rivers trace valleys. This curvature is invisible, yet its effect is everywhere. Even light itself bends around the Sun, an arc of starlight that confirms space is not emptiness, but a fabric woven with tension. Though gravity is the architect of stability, it is also gentle. It allows moons to circle planets, planets to circle stars, comets to return after millennia. It holds galaxies together, binding stars into spirals that drift for billions of years. Across all scales, it works with the same quiet patience, never hurried, never absent. Without gravity, there would be no tides, no orbits, no seasons. The moon would drift away, Earth would lose its balance, and life itself would have no stage upon which to grow. Every lullaby sung beneath the night sky is, in its own way, gravity's gift, a moment of calm granted by the invisible order it sustains. And yet, gravity's thread is fragile. Its influence weakens with distance, fading as worlds drift farther from the Sunday. Beyond the heliosphere, its pull competes with other stars, other systems. Even here, in its domain, it can be disrupted, an asteroid nudged, a comet shifted, a planet tilted by ancient collisions. But still, gravity restores harmony, weaving new patterns, creating new balances. To imagine gravity is to picture an unseen net, soft but unbreakable, stretched across the solar system. Each world is a weight upon it, each orbit a ripple in its tension. Nothing is ever still, yet everything is bound. The music of the solar system, the motion of planets, the return of comets, the procession of moons would fall silent without it. As sleep approaches, gravity becomes a comforting thought. It is the hand that cradles Earth, that tethers the moon, that steadies the planets in their paths. It is the reason the stars above seem fixed, the reason tomorrow will follow today. Gravity's gentle thread is not only science, but serenity, the quiet promise that in the vastness of space, order endures. The solar system is vast, but within its immensity there is an astonishing order. Each planet, each moon, each drifting fragment of rock follows its path with a silence more perfect than any clock. Orbits are the quiet loops of worlds, carved not by chance but by the measured pull of gravity and the momentum of motion. They do not collide, they do not falter, they flow endlessly, like the gears of a timepiece too grand for human hands to build. Planets circle the Sun in ellipses, not perfect circles, but close enough to bring balance. Mercury races quickly, completing its orbit in mere months. while Neptune drifts so slowly that one of its years equals nearly 165 of ours. Between them lie worlds of every rhythm, each moving in harmony, none rushing, none still. The dance of these orbits is so regular that it can be predicted centuries into the future, a calm procession of time measured not in days but in cosmic revolutions. Moons echo this quiet rhythm around their planets. Some move in resonances, locked into simple ratios, Io, Europa, and Ganymede, circling Jupiter in a precise 1-2-4 pattern like the notes of a chord. Others drift more freely, each orbit a reminder of the invisible harmony that ties them to their parent world. Even the smallest asteroids obey this order, their paths weaving between planets, following unseen patterns carved by Jupiter's gravity. And yet, orbits are not frozen. Over millions of years, they shift and precess, slow wobbles in their endless cycles. The Earth's axis tilts, its orbit elongates, its rhythm modulates in cycles of tens of thousands of years. These changes sculpt the ages of ice and warmth, the long pulses of climate that ripple through history. Even in their shifts, orbits remain serene, their adjustments measured not in human lifetimes but in spans that stretch across civilizations. Einstein showed that orbits are the result of space-time itself being curved. Planets do not circle because they are pulled by an invisible string, but because they move along the valleys of reality shaped by the sun's mass. In this vision, the solar system is not a machine, but a landscape. Planets gliding along invisible contours, rivers flowing through the fabric of space. When comets return, when moons eclipse, when planets align, it is because these paths intersect with perfect timing. What might seem like coincidence is nothing more than the natural rhythm of orbits playing out their ancient score. This order is so steady that it guided sailors across oceans, farmers through harvests, and astronomers toward understanding. To imagine orbits is to see the solar system as a clockwork, but one that does not tick, does not grind, does not wear. It is a silent engine powered by nothing more than the balance of motion and gravity. Each world glides without sound, without interruption, forever returning, forever continuing. As the eyes close, one might picture these paths not as lines on a chart, but as luminous ribbons circling the Sunday. Each ribbon glows faintly, each loop steady, each curve patient. Together, they weave a tapestry of calm, the silent music of orbits in clockwork silence, carrying the solar system forward in unbroken harmony. Time moves differently in the realm of planets. On Earth, we measure it by days and years, by the turning of the planet on its axis and its steady orbit around the Sunday, but elsewhere in the solar system, time stretches and bends into scales so vast and patient that they defy human intuition. Planetary seasons, carved by tilts and orbits, unfold like great symphonies, each movement lasting not months but decades, even centuries. On Mars, a year is nearly twice as long as Earth's, stretching the seasons into long, quiet spans. Winters linger with cold that buries its poles in carbon dioxide frost, while summers melt them back into vapor, breathing faint cycles of atmosphere in and out. The rhythm is slower, more deliberate, as though Mars itself has chosen to live at half the speed of Earth. Saturn, farther still, orbits the Sun once every 29 Earth years. Its tilt gives it seasons like ours, but each one lasts more than 7 Earth years. Imagine a spring so long that generations could pass before summer comes, or a winter stretching across decades. The rings, too, shift with the seasons, tilting toward and away from the Sun, glowing differently as they catch the light. In Saturn's calendar, patience is woven into the very sky. Uranus, rolling on its side, carries the strangest seasons of all. With its axis tilted nearly 98 degrees, One pole can face the sun for 42 years of unbroken daylight, while the other sinks into 42 years of night. Time here is not measured in days, but in eras, long stretches of sunlight and shadow that blur into one another, creating a rhythm that no human life could fully witness. Neptune drifts farther still, its year lasting 165 Earth years. A single season endures longer than a human lifetime. Here, time is stretched so thin that change becomes imperceptible, the planet turning slowly in an eternal calm. And beyond the giants, Pluto circles the Sun once every 248 Earth years. Its seasons are so slow that humanity has not yet watched a full cycle. When the New Horizons spacecraft flew past in 2015, Pluto was just entering one of its long stretches of twilight. Its thin atmosphere froze and fell as snow, a reminder that even in the coldest corners, seasons still breathe their patient rhythm. Seasons are not only the measure of sunlight and shadow, they are the breath of planets, their slow inhalations and exhalations across time. They remind us that each world carries its own clock, set by its tilt, its orbit, its distance from the Sunday. These clocks do not agree with ours. They move at their own pace, unhurried, eternal. To drift into sleep is to imagine standing on one of these distant worlds, watching a dawn that will last for decades, or a sunset that will not end in a lifetime. The colors would change slowly, the shadows stretching longer and longer, until the world itself seems to sigh into slumber. Time, in planetary seasons, is not measured by urgency but by patience. It is a lullaby written in light and darkness, a rhythm so slow it feels eternal, reminding us that the universe does not rush. It waits, it turns, it endures. At the center of the solar system lies not only the sun itself, but also a delicate balance, a harmony of mass, motion, and gravity that keeps every world in its path. This centered calm is not visible to the eye, yet it defines everything. It is the reason planets do not collide, why moons do not drift away, why comets return in their patient arcs. The solar system is not chaos. It is a system held together by balance so precise that it feels like the quiet heartbeat of space. The sun, though seemingly fixed, does not sit perfectly still. Its enormous mass pulls everything inward, but at the same time, every planet's gravity tugs back. Together, these forces create a center of mass, the barycenter, around which the entire system turns. This barycenter shifts, sometimes even lying outside the sun's surface, as Jupiter and Saturn pull the star gently off-center. The image is not of a single ruler at the center, but of a family moving in harmony, each member influencing the others. This hidden point of balance makes the solar system a system rather than a scattering. Every orbit traces its loop around it, every cycle anchored by the same invisible harmony. Even the sun itself wobbles slightly in response, a subtle sway that scientists can measure, a gentle dance of mass and motion repeated endlessly across time. Beyond this central balance lies resonance, the quiet echo of gravity's influence. Moons fall into synchronized patterns, planets settle into stable ratios, and even asteroids drift into orbits shaped by Jupiter's pull. These resonances create calm amid the possibility of chaos, locking worlds into relationships that endure for billions of years. It is as if the solar system prefers order, as though balance itself were its natural language. The centered calm of the solar system is not fragile, it is enduring. For billions of years, the planets have circled without breaking formation, their orbits stable despite the immense forces at play. The balance is not perfect, but it is steady, strong enough to last longer than the history of life, longer than the rise and fall of stars in the distant sky. To imagine this balance is to picture an immense mobile, each planet a weight, each orbit a string, all suspended in invisible equilibrium. No one piece overwhelms the others. Instead, all contribute to the harmony. The system holds together not through force alone, but through the quiet agreement of motion and mass. As sleep draws near, this vision offers reassurance. The solar system, vast and intricate, is not adrift in chaos. It is ordered, balanced, calm. Its center may not shine or glow, but it holds everything in place. It is the stillness at the heart of motion, the silence at the core of harmony, the reason every dawn follows every night. Between planets and stars, amid vast distances where silence reigns, something softer drifts: cosmic dust. These are not the grand worlds or blazing suns, but the tiniest fragments, grains smaller than sand, floating through the solar system like a gentle haze. Though they are humble, they are everywhere, filling space with a quiet presence that shapes the light of stars, the glow of comets, the very skies of Earth at dawn and dusk. Cosmic dust comes from many places. Some grains are the ashes of comets, left behind as they pass close to the sun, their icy surfaces shedding fine particles. Others are fragments of asteroids, ground down by collisions across eons. Still more may be remnants of ancient stars, matter that drifted into the cloud from which our solar system was born. Each grain is a traveler, tiny and persistent, carrying within it the memory of origins older than planets. Though individually invisible, together they create beauty. When sunlight strikes dust in the inner solar system, it scatters into a faint glow known as the zodiacal light, a soft triangular shimmer that rises from the horizon after sunset or before dawn. For those who have seen it, far from city lights, it is one of the most delicate spectacles in the sky, an ethereal mist of light born from countless grains, each one drifting quietly through the void. On Earth, cosmic dust also falls each day. Thousands of tons of it settle across the planet, too small to notice, drifting down like invisible snow. In ice cores and ocean sediments, scientists find its traces: tiny spheres of metal and mineral, silent reminders that Earth is not alone, but bathed constantly in matter from beyond. We live under a steady rain of dust, unnoticed, unceasing, linking us directly to the greater cosmos. Elsewhere, dust becomes the raw material of creation. Around young stars, it gathers into disks, slowly clumping into pebbles, then rocks, then planets. In these dusty nurseries, new worlds are born. The solar system itself began this way, from a cloud of dust and gas collapsing into the sun and the planets we now know. To see dust is to see beginnings, the smallest particles carrying within them the promise of worlds. And yet, dust also signifies endings. The tails of comets, the rings of Saturn, the faint haze between stars, all are made of fragments left behind, remnants of bodies that shattered, eroded, or faded. Dust is the poetry of impermanence, the evidence that nothing lasts forever, that even great worlds eventually dissolve into smaller, quieter forms. To imagine cosmic dust is to picture a slow snowfall across space, too delicate to hear, too faint to see, except when it catches the light. Each grain floats endlessly, patient beyond measure, some destined to fall into planets, others to drift between stars for millions of years. Together, they form the soft background of existence, the quiet haze through which all greater bodies move. As one drifts into rest, cosmic dust becomes a comforting vision. It is the universe's most delicate lullaby, a reminder that even the smallest things can fill space with beauty. Grains smaller than sand, drifting forever, scattering starlight into glimmers, whispering across the darkness with a calm too subtle for sound. Farther still, beyond the Kuiper belt, lies a boundary almost unimaginable in scale: the Oort cloud. It is not a ring or a disk, but a vast, spherical shell of icy bodies stretching halfway to the nearest stars. If the solar system were a house, the Oort cloud would be its outer walls, enclosing everything in a sphere of frozen dreams. Here, in this distant region, comets slumber for billions of years, waiting in silence at the edge of the sun's reach. No telescope has ever seen the Oort cloud directly. It is too distant, too diffuse, its bodies too small and dark. Yet its presence is certain, revealed by the comets that occasionally fall inward. These long-period comets, whose orbits take them thousands of years to complete, can only come from such a distant reservoir. Each one is a messenger from the cloud, stirred from its rest by the passing gravity of nearby stars or the faint tug of the galactic tide. The Oort cloud is a place of unimaginable calm. Its inhabitants, trillions of icy bodies, are spread so widely that each one drifts alone, separated from its neighbors by vast gulfs of emptiness. They orbit slowly, their paths barely curved by the distant Sunday. To them, the sun is not a blazing star but a faint point of light, little brighter than other stars in the sky. They live on the threshold of interstellar space, balanced between belonging to the solar system and drifting free into the galaxy. These icy bodies are ancient relics, left over from the solar system's birth. Some may preserve the chemistry of the primordial cloud that collapsed into the Sunday. Others may carry water and organics, the same materials that, when delivered to Earth by comets, may have seeded oceans and life. In this way, the Oort cloud is both an archive and a cradle, the memory of beginnings, the source of quiet gifts. Imagine standing on one of these frozen worlds. The sun would be only a star among many, indistinguishable from its neighbors. The sky would blaze with countless points of light, but the horizon would be utterly still. No wind, no sound, no warmth, only silence, so deep it feels eternal. Time here stretches beyond reckoning. A single orbit might take millions of years, a patience so vast that it transcends human imagination. The Oort cloud also marks the solar system's boundary, the place where the sun's gravity fades into the galaxy's pull. Beyond it lies the true interstellar void, where other stars carry their own clouds, their own frozen memories. In this sense, the Oort cloud is not only an ending but also a meeting point, a place where the solar system blends into the greater galaxy, where boundaries dissolve into infinite night. As sleep beckons, the Oort cloud offers the gentlest of visions, a sphere of frozen bodies drifting endlessly, too far to be seen, too patient to be hurried. They wait in their slumber, carrying the memory of beginnings, dreaming in silence at the edge of the stars. It is the farthest cradle of calm, the outermost whisper of the solar system, where frozen dreams rest forever in night. Beyond the orbits of planets and comets, beyond the frozen silence of the Oort cloud, humanity has sent its own messengers into the dark. They are small, fragile machines, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, yet they carry with them a significance greater than their size. Launched in 1977, they were designed to visit the outer planets, but their journey did not end there. Instead, they continued onward, leaving the familiar domains of planets and drifting into interstellar space. Their path is a farewell, but a gentle one, a slow glide outward, carrying whispers of Earth into the night. Voyager 1 is now the farthest human-made object from Earth, more than 14 billion miles away. Its twin, Voyager 2, follows behind on a different path. Both have crossed the heliopause, where the solar wind fades and the influence of the sun yields to the interstellar medium. These spacecraft are no longer within the sun's protective cocoon. They drift in true interstellar space, ambassadors of our small world, voyaging into silence. Each carries with it the golden record, a phonograph etched with the sounds and images of Earth. Greetings in dozens of languages, music from across cultures, the laughter of a child, the heartbeat of a human being, all inscribed into a disk of copper and gold. These records are time capsules, gifts for any who might one day find them. But even if no one ever does, they are still messages of hope, proof that humanity sought to share beauty with the cosmos. The voyagers move quietly, their instruments aging, their signals weakening as they whisper across billions of kilometers. It takes more than 20 hours for their faint radio voices to reach Earth, a transmission no louder than the wattage of a refrigerator light bulb. Yet still, we listen. Each signal is a heartbeat from the edge of the known, a reminder that we are capable of reaching outward beyond ourselves. The spacecraft themselves will endure for billions of years, long after Earth's mountains have eroded, long after the oceans have shifted and the continents have changed. The voyagers will still drift. Their golden records, protected by time, may outlast all memory of their makers, gliding silently among the stars. There is serenity in this farewell. The voyagers do not rush. Their speed is steady, unchanging. They will never return, but they carry no urgency, only calm progression into the infinite. In them, the solar system leaves behind a part of itself, an echo, a whisper, a gentle reminder that once, in a small corner of the galaxy, there was a world that looked up and dreamed. As sleep draws near, one might imagine these twin travelers, faint glimmers against the stars, moving farther and farther, never stopping, never faltering. They are not lonely, but purposeful, carrying our lullaby into the endless night. Their farewell is not final, it is eternal, a journey without end, a whisper carried forever outward on the quiet sea of stars. Long before the quiet drift of voyagers, before even the calm loops of planets, there was chaos. The solar system was born not in silence, but in fire and collision, from a cloud of dust and gas collapsing under gravity's pull. It began as a swirling disk, the sun igniting at its heart, while the leftover material spun outward, flattening into a vast, rotating cradle of beginnings. From this disk, every planet, moon, asteroid, and comet was sculpted, a memory still carried in their orbits and compositions today. In that early era, the solar system was not serene. Worlds collided, fragments shattered, oceans of molten rock spread across young planets. It was a time of violence, yet within the chaos lay the seeds of calm. Dust grains stuck together, forming pebbles. Pebbles grew into boulders, boulders into planetesimals, and planetesimals into planets. Slowly, gravity imposed order on the storm, shaping the stillness we know now. The sun was the first to emerge, ignited when pressures at its core grew fierce enough to fuse hydrogen into helium. With its light came balance, a force strong enough to hold everything else in orbit. Around it, planets gathered in their quiet loops, their fate sealed in the patterns of that early disk. The giant planets formed first, pulling gas and dust into immense spheres, while the smaller terrestrial worlds coalesced closer in, their surfaces soon scarred by collisions. Even the moon carries the memory of this birth. Most scientists believe it was formed when a Mars-sized body struck the young Earth, scattering debris that eventually gathered into a companion. The scars of that collision are hidden now, but the moon's presence is a constant reminder of the chaos that shaped serenity. The asteroid belt, too, is a fossil of beginnings. Jupiter's gravity prevented it from becoming a planet, leaving instead a field of fragments that drift in silence. The comets that sleep in the Oort cloud are another relic, thrown outward by giant planets in the solar system's youth, frozen as time capsules at its edge. Each fragment, each grain of dust, is a memory of that first great collapse. Over billions of years, the solar system calmed. The collisions lessened, the surfaces cooled, atmospheres thickened or vanished. What remains today is order, planets tracing stable paths, moons circling faithfully, comets drifting in patient arcs. Yet within this order, the memory of birth lingers. Every crater, every fragment of dust, every icy body at the edge is a trace of that ancient storm. To reflect on the solar system's beginnings is to see serenity not as the absence of chaos, but as its transformation. From violence emerged harmony, from collisions, companionship, from dust, the worlds we now see drifting in quiet balance. The solar system's calm is not accidental, it is the result of billions of years of patience, of time smoothing violence into rhythm. As one drifts toward sleep, this memory becomes comforting. The solar system was born from turbulence, yet it settled into beauty. So too, chaos can give way to calm, storms to stillness, beginnings to harmony. The solar system's birth memory is written into every orbit, every world, a quiet reassurance that even from disorder, serenity will come. Time moves forward, and with it, even the most enduring harmonies of the solar system drift towards stillness. Entropy, the slow unraveling of order into quiet simplicity, touches every corner of existence. Stars, planets, and even the faintest grains of dust all yield to its patient hand. If the birth of the solar system was fire, its long future is a lullaby, an ever-softening song of fading heat and deepening night. The sun itself, the metronome of our system, is not eternal. For now, it burns with stability, fusing hydrogen into helium at its core, releasing the light and warmth that cradle life. But in billions of years, its hydrogen will be consumed, the fusion will falter, then shift, and the sun will expand into a red giant. It will engulf Mercury and Venus, and perhaps even Earth, its outer layers billowing into space. This vision seems violent, but from the scale of eternity, it is only transition. The sun sighing into old age, its fires softening into a slower rhythm. Long after, it will shed its layers, leaving behind a white dwarf no longer burning, but glowing faintly with the residual heat of its past. This ember will cool for trillions of years, fading steadily toward darkness. Around it, the remaining planets will continue to orbit, but in silence, their warmth gone, their surfaces cold and still. Entropy will have wrapped the solar system in its quiet embrace. Even before that far future, entropy shapes smaller things. Moons lose their heat, volcanoes fall silent, atmospheres escape into space. Tides slow the rotation of worlds, locking moons into eternal faces toward their planets. Energy dissipates, motions diminish, and the intricate dynamics of the present shift towards stasis. The solar system is not dying in haste. It is gently settling, like a fire burning down into embers. Entropy does not erase beauty, it transforms it. The slow fading of stars creates new elements, scattering them into space, seeding the birth of new systems. Comets dissolve into dust, their fragments painting meteors across skies. Even silence has meaning, for it marks the completion of a long song. In this way, entropy is not destruction but a soft conclusion, the universe's way of closing its eyes. The thought may seem sorrowful, yet it can also be comforting. The solar system, like every living thing, has its cycles: birth, growth, maturity, and eventual rest. Entropy is the quiet promise that nothing rages forever, that every storm will calm, every fire will fade, every restless motion will come to peace. As one drifts towards sleep, entropy's lullaby can be imagined as the slow dimming of light, the gradual cooling of air, the soft settling of motion into stillness. It is the reassurance that even in the vastness of time, the final note is not violence, but rest. The solar system's fate is not one of chaos, but of serenity, a long descent into calm, a whisper that will last longer than memory. Far in the future, when billions of years have passed, the sun will reach the end of its long, steady pulse. For ages, it has been the center of calm, the heartbeat of the solar system. But even stars grow old. When its hydrogen is gone, it will swell into a red giant, its glow turning from golden to deep crimson. Its size will expand until it fills half the sky for any world that remains, an immense lantern burning with unhurried fire. Mercury and Venus will vanish first, swallowed by the sun's swollen body. Earth's fate is less certain. It may be engulfed, or it may drift outward as the sun loses mass. Either way, the oceans will long since have boiled away, the air stripped, the surface barren. From the perspective of the cosmos, however, this is not tragedy, but transition. The sun is not dying in violence, but in release, shedding its layers into space, surrounding itself with a glowing shroud of gas, a planetary nebula, delicate and colorful, like a final sigh. What remains will be a white dwarf, no larger than Earth but immensely dense. It will shine faintly at first, glowing with the leftover heat of billions of years. Around it, planets may still orbit, though changed and cold. Comets from the Oort cloud may drift inward, painting faint arcs of light against the dark. The solar system will be transformed, no longer the vibrant cradle of life, but a quieter place, lit by an ember where a star once blazed. This distant goodbye is not the end of meaning. The atoms forged in the sun's heart, carbon, oxygen, iron, will scatter into space, drifting to become part of new stars, new planets, perhaps even new life. The sun's final act is one of generosity, giving itself back to the galaxy. Its goodbye is not destruction, but contribution, a passing of light into the hands of futures it will never see. To imagine the sun's distant farewell is not to invite fear, but calm perspective. The timescales are so vast that even civilizations cannot measure them. Humanity, in all its stories and struggles, is but a flicker compared to the sun's endurance. By the time this future arrives, we will be long gone or transformed into something unrecognizable. The sun's goodbye is not for us, it is for the cosmos. As the eyes grow heavy, picture this farewell not as fire, but as a gentle dimming. A great light slowly fades, leaving behind a glowing memory, then settling into stillness. It is the cosmic equivalent of sleep, the moment when the central star rests after a life of shining. The solar system's guardian, its source of warmth, will close its long journey with a whisper, a soft glow, then silence, then peace. In the end, all motion slows. The solar system, once alive with rivers of fire and seas of ice, with drifting comets and glowing auroras, dissolves into quiet. The sun has dimmed into a pale ember, the planets circle like shadows, and the great arcs of dust and stone have scattered into the dark. Nothing stirs but the faint drift of fragments, and even these follow paths so stretched that time itself seems to stop. Eternal night does not arrive with violence. It comes gently, like the slow fall of snow, like the settling of dust upon a forgotten room. The worlds remain, but they are silent. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune drift outward as the sun's grip weakens, their moons circling still, though without the warmth that once gave them seasons. Pluto and the countless icy bodies beyond continue their slow orbits, unseen in the vastness. The voyagers glide further still, carrying whispers that may never be heard. Entropy has claimed its place. The last traces of warmth seep into the void, and the solar system joins the galaxy not as a burning lantern but as a quiet memory. The echoes of its birth, its storms, its rivers and tides, its lives and voices, all are folded into silence. Yet this silence is not empty. It is calm, the final stillness after a long symphony, the rest that follows music. Humanity, if it endures in some form, may be elsewhere by then around other stars, beneath other suns, carrying with it the memory of this one. And if it does not, then the solar system story is no less profound, for its beauty will have existed, its calm will have been real. Existence does not need permanence to hold meaning. To imagine this eternal night is not to feel fear, but release. The solar system has run its course, has lived its life, and now drifts into rest. It is as natural as the closing of eyes at the end of day. The stars remain, the galaxy turns, and within that greater silence, the solar system becomes part of the whole, its light absorbed, its matter scattered, its story complete. And so the final lullaby arrives, not with fire, not with collapse, but with stillness. A gentle fade into the infinite night, where every planet, every moon, every grain of dust finds its place in rest. The solar system is no longer a song being sung, but an echo lingering in the dark, calm, eternal, unbroken. And now, as the story of the solar system's serenity closes, the words themselves soften, the rhythm slows, sentences stretch longer, like breaths deepening at the edge of sleep. The images of suns and planets, of moons and drifting comets, fade gently into the horizon of the mind, dissolving into a vast, quiet expanse. There is no need to hold on to detail anymore. The warmth of the sun, the silver glow of the moon, the patient turns of Saturn's rings, the stillness of Pluto's plains, all merge into a single impression, calmness written in the language of the cosmos. What was once fiery and restless is now imagined as soft, distant, and serene. The solar system itself becomes a lullaby. Its orbits are the rhythm, its tides, the breath, its auroras, the faintest song of light. Every planet is a note, every comet a pause, every grain of dust a whisper that drifts into the whole. Together they form a music without end, a music so quiet it can only be heard when one is ready to surrender to sleep. The stars beyond are waiting too. They shine with patient light, but they ask nothing. They will keep their watch whether eyes are open or closed, whether minds are restless or at peace. In their silence is comfort, the knowledge that the universe does not hurry, does not demand, but simply continues in its infinite calm. So, let the final images drift away now. Let the solar system fade into the greater stillness of night. Rest in the assurance that the same forces holding planets and moons in their paths hold you, too, in balance and calm. The universe is quiet now. Sleep and join its silence. Sweet dreams.